Now then, I got the $1 Million Musk Ox dead on the side of the hill. I start skinning him a little bit that night. I got one whole side. Now I wanted that hide intact. I was tempted to take them chunks off with the hide on. That serves a couple different purposes. It keeps your meat cleaner, and it keeps the bird, you know, if you put that side up, the birds don't work it so hard because it's got the hide still on it. But I wanted that hide. I wanted that whole skin in case I got cold later in the winter, in case I needed additional bedding. 100 scenarios why I'd want that entire musk ox skin. So I skunt one whole side off, clear up over to the top of the back, and actually had it to where I could lay it on the other side. Gutted him, all the entrails out. All the entrails from the esophagus to his pecker out and put aside. And then I took sticks, heavy pieces of pole, and I propped up each leg. He's laying on his side, right? And the reason I know this move is because I've done this 100 times. You know, if you got one at dark and then go back the next day, he's got rigor mortis like this. You know, trying to get him apart again to continue skinning's hard. Moose, bear, whatever. So I took big sticks and I propped them legs up so that I could get in there and work the next morning. And that's all I could do that night. And then I packed all the entrails back to Rock House with me. I took both tenderloins, which is the inside back meat, back to the backbone, the loin, filet mignon. And I took the heart, the liver, the kidneys, and all the gut. And I think that's it, but that was a pretty good load. I didn't have a pack. And I put it in my raincoat and made a wad out of it, a bundle in my raincoat. And then I carried that raincoat clear back to my camp like this, way after dark, way after dark. So that night it was pretty safe. It was still intact. It would take a very large predator to mess with that animal intact. Even a wolverine couldn't hurt it too awful much in one night. He could shit on it and piss on it and eat a bunch, but he couldn't really pack none away. He would have pulled off the loose hide and messed up that side, and a bear could have done a little bit more, but pretty good for that night. But the fox already moving in. I had my headlamp, and I seen a fox. I seen a no, I didn't have my headlamp. I came back at night for another load. And then when I was taking that one out, I didn't find it actually, and walked out without a load. And but I seen a fox heading to the kill. I could have followed him in perhaps, but I was bushed by then. The fox found it that first night. So the next day I continued filming and skinning and then quartering. You got to cut this thing up into man-sized portions. You know, all four legs, the ribs, the head was a load, the hide was a load. There's like 9 loads in this thing. And I'm used to that. That's what I do for all my clients. You know, I break their animals down and get them out of the woods for them in Alaska. You cannot abandon meat in Alaska even if you don't want it. It all has to come out in this fashion. So, you know, we're entering my arena of expertise, breaking down a big animal and taking it 2.5 miles away. Took 5 days. 5 long days. Every day when you're done, I had to take that hide. Well, the first day after butchering, I got it all packed up out of that nasty little ravine he was in, and on top of the summit, where I had a pretty smooth sailing from my escapement up to the top and then out across and down to him. So I got it all up to there because mostly all your big predators come to the gut pile first. I left a little wee bit of stomach down there, the lungs, and the penis, which was like this long on him, because anybody's handled beef know that they got that big long penis that runs clear up to their mid stomach. But I didn't leave much, but I left just enough down there to keep them fox down there maybe out of my main cache. So I'd put that whole hide down, and this is after you worked all day. I still had to put that whole hide down, put all them quarters in it and the head, fold it over, giant rocks all the way around to keep a wolverine or the fox from getting in under there. Probably couldn't have kept the wolverine, but also that kept the smell down. You know, everything's coming to the smell probably down over at the kill. And I was trying to keep things clean up the meat cache. And then I cut 20 or 30 G-poles and throwed in on top of that to keep the birds from off of it. Because I didn't want them, you know, the birds couldn't get through the hide, but if that hide's exposed, them birds will land on the hide and work the hide a little bit. They can't get your meat, but it'll draw more birds and more birds and more birds. Pretty soon you got 24 ravens there cawing and cackling and raising hell, and that'll draw in predators just from the bird noise. So I put enough brush on to keep the, you know, there was some birds lingering around without a doubt, but if you weren't smart about it, you could have had 50 birds there. 4 days went by, nothing but fox and birds, thank God. It was part of my daily prayers at that part to make sure the Lord protected me from a big predator. I need to get all this meat to camp without a pack. F***ing humping it in on your shoulder. 4 days went, 2 loads a day. 5th day snowed. This was our second big weather. Snowed 2 inches, 2 wet inches. And was kind of cold too, cold and snow. And as I'm going up for my first load that morning, I see black bear tracks 100 yards out from the kill. Not so big ones, like a 4.5 footer. I know it's going to be blowed apart with that bear tracks there. So I go in, ready. I ditch my camera and everything, and I go in with one in the bow. And the wind was good, and it was in a spot where I could hop up over this little hump and have a 30-yard shot at my meat pile. There's gonna be a bear on that. Just cruised up over there, I'm all set. 2 fox bedded right on it. I mean, everything's scattered. Well, at this point, all the meat was back at my house. The only thing left up there was the hide and a camera and the head. And the head was huge, and it still had all the tongue and everything in it, which I dearly wanted. Well, them fox spotted me and buzzed off. Bear's nowhere to be seen. I go over and size up my head. The whole tongue area is gone. Valuable part. But if that's all I lose out of the whole thing, oh well. And the fox had been working on some of the cheek meat and the nose a little wee bit. And the hide had some ate off one leg, but the hide's intact. The camera ain't even demolished. I thought the camera would be toast. Bear tracks everywhere. I film all that bear sign, make a scene out of it, grab I think I took the hide after that. Then I moved the head to another spot, and I'm humping that hide. Oh no, I packed them both up. I put the head in the hide and then picked up the head and the hide. And I'm just trying to get the whole works out of there so I can go ahead and reload later and take one of them back without the bear getting the other one. And while I'm doing that, wind's blowing, f***ing snow, it's a nasty day. Here comes that black bear from the timber, I don't know, 500 or 600 yards down below me across this little deal. It's coming. The son of a bitch is damn near running. I'm like, holy this bear's gonna be here in like 2 minutes or less. And my bow and arrow's laying back at the original site because my hands are full of hide and head. I put that down, and I should have been a little bit smarter and cautious. Now, I've had this happen in the past. You know, everybody says, oh, bear can't see because bear got little eyes, and they mostly rely on their nose, and it seems like maybe they might hear a little better than they see, but they can see as good as us, and a bear is far from blind. Far from blind. I've had bears blow me with their eyesight in the past, blow my stock. But he's coming so fast. I put my stuff down and I'm heading back to get my bow, and I must have skylined just a little wee bit, and he caught that movement and froze up. But he's just standing there. I see him standing there. He's like at 300 yards. And I go back and then I duck behind the rock and I go back and get my bow. And when I come back to where I can see him, he's still just locked up. He saw movement up there at the kill, and they are all alerted at the kill. You know, well, this bear was on the timid side. I'd have preferred he'd been more aggressive and kept coming. Then I could have got a shot. So now I'm ready. I'm just waiting for him to come on in. Turned, went back to that timber, crossed the timber, and went up on a little knoll berry patch like a quarter mile away. And it's getting late, and you know, I've already done this 4 days. I'm tired. Just built that rock house and then shot that musk ox and packed it all in. I think this is where I lost most of my weight in that 2-week period there. And I'm all in. But and then he stops and he's waiting there in that open and he starts eating berries. I thought he's gonna wait till I'm gone, come back tonight and eat the rest of that head. I had to go shoot him. But he's over, he's a long way now, across the steep ravine, and I'm tired. I mean, I am tired. I am dog tired. But I put everything down and I start making that stalk toward him. And I get halfway and I'm like, man, by the time I cross that ravine and get up there and blow it or get him, either one, it's gonna be after dark. I still got this whole load to go back 2 miles to camp. The wind, I mean, it's bad weather, bad. I'm at the edge of my territory. Mainly I'm tired. I'm like, I don't even know if I can do that. Probably could have. I'm sure I could have, but I thought he'll be there tomorrow. He'll be up here on what's left of that head tomorrow, and I'll shoot him off the kill tomorrow. So I take my hide and I go back to camp, and man, by the time I got to camp, I was all in. I went to sleep. I didn't give a fuck what that bear was going. I was going to bed. Next morning, get back here as quick as I can. That bear never came back to the kill. Never came back. That one sighting of me spooked it clear out of the country because I tracked it. I tried to track it down and I tracked it clear out of my geo area. I tracked it so far I was scared it was going over to the other guys. Actually, I thought, shit, I probably just ran the son of a bitch over to the next guy. Now we'll have 2 big game kills. I got that going through my head. Packed my head down to the house that day. And that's pretty much the end of the musk ox hunt. It was incredible. The work that went on there, getting that thing killed and packed back to Rock House is beyond normal people.